The new Gun Raiders update just dropped, and there have been a ton of new changes, and this will change the game in ways that the devs have not foreseen. This is what you need to know to get you started in Battle Royale. Starting off with the bare basics, there are 10 teams of 2. The goal is to be the last team standing. The teams are all named after fruits, and you can join a team by walking over a colored pad with less than 2 people on it. Now, one of the new changes in this update is that the battle bus moves. Just because it moves and it takes longer to get from one spot to the other does not mean that dropping late is not worth it. However, most of the time, if you are near a large landmark like the battleship or the temple, it is going to be worth it to drop on those. Secondly, you can loot chests via grabbing them using the bottom trigger. Now, the loots, the chest drops, and the locations are randomized. There will always be a chance for them to spawn in the same spot, but just because they can spawn there does not mean they will. In addition, they can spawn a maximum of 5 objects, but more often they will spawn around 3. I've seen at a minimum of 1 at a maximum of 5, like I said. Now, there are 3 things you need to look for when you open these chests. Potions, which are these bottle-looking things, and you hold them down so that the liquid flows down, and simply hold it above your head. You do not need to look at them for the potion to work. There are 2 types of potions, the red one and the blue one. The red ones you only need to drink if your health bar, which is the green bar, is damaged. This will not regenerate naturally, nor will the shield, which is the blue potion. You can get a maximum of 9 drinking the blue potions. They are very important. Thirdly, and most importantly, is weapons. The weapons all spawn in their default color and sometimes can be hard to miss. However, do not be mistaken, they are the most important. Each weapon has a corresponding ammo type, and you can see this when you open the weapon wheel, which is, I believe, A or X. You can pick up multiple of the same weapons, and this will give you more ammo for that weapon. However, it's not a lot, but it is still worth it. Now, the third thing you're probably going to come across when playing the Battle Royale is other people. When you come across other people, you're going to want to pull out the weapon you are most comfortable with, or the best weapon, which I will get to later, and you are going to want to shoot them a lot. It is recommended you use a weapon that has high spam ability due to the large amount of shield other players may have. In addition, when possible, you're going to want to place yourself above the only doorway. This way, when they walk in and they scan the room, you can begin shooting first. As I mentioned earlier, there are a couple weapons that are going to be best for dealing with large amounts of shield. These are the minigun, shotgun, and bow. Minigun is the easiest one to learn. Simply use 2 hands and keep it pointed at the enemy. The bow is probably the one that requires the most skill, as you have to repeatedly shoot it, and the shotgun you simply have to practice reloading. Now, again, when in combat, it's best to position yourself above the doorway so that when they walk in, they don't see you. Again, other enemy players may be using this, so you're going to want to quickly scan the whole room and dash in. If you don't know how to dash, it is by pulling back on the jetpack joystick. By doing this, you will quickly be put into the room and not where they are looking, which is directly at the entrance, and then it gives you more time to clear the room. If there is someone, simply shoot them. If not, then move on to the next room. Now, if you are having trouble, you're going to want to avoid combat at all cost, unless you meet the optimal standards. Those optimal standards are a weapon you are good with, preferably one of the aforementioned weapons, and large amounts of shield. Again, it is recommended that you avoid conflict if you do not meet these criteria. Now, there are 2 things you're going to want to remember when you play Battle Royale. Those are visibility and speed. You're going to want to loot, to move, to kill as quick as possible. Whether this is looting, in which you're simply going to spam grab, don't even look at what you're picking up, or movement by using the gauntlet or holding the knife when you're gliding. Finally, visibility. You do not want to be seen, and you want to see the enemies. You can do this by propping yourself halfway through windows so you can see a lot further than people can see you, or by your background. If you position yourself next to things and you have no overshield, or if you have high overshield and want to back yourself behind something colorful, that helps a lot. Also, if you do have a teammate, it is very important for communication. Make sure you let them know what kind of weapons you have, how confident you are in your playstyle, and how much overshield you have. In addition to visibility with your teammate, you're also going to want to learn how to ping people or ping positions. You can do this by tapping the joystick. This will send an arrow to wherever your hand is pointing at, or double tapping the joystick, and this will put a red arrow where they are to signal an enemy. Now, despite Battle Royale having the appearance of being all equal aside from skill, there are a couple things that will set you leagues above the opposition. These can be found in settings. For instance, if you go to settings and then audio, you will find something called voice spastication. If you turn this to low, you can hear people from wherever they are across the map, but they will not be able to hear you back. You will also be able to hear the direction that they come from. One of the new things they added in the latest update was self-revive stations. These are stations with a green zone around them and a large arrow pointing to them. If you walk inside this, you will hear a whirling up sound, and you will be revived and spawn with a revolver. However, you can be spawn killed by the enemy. So, unless you're going to do some Wild West stuff and kill them with a revolver, you are likely going to die if they are there. However, this is very useful, especially if your teammate is across the map or stuck up in a firefight. A lot of times, it will be just a couple teams and a large area. If this is the case, and you have a lot of overshield and a weapon you're confident with, you're going to want to begin hunting. If you equip the setting I mentioned earlier, you can begin trying to follow the audio trail and look for them. Once you see them, you're going to want to stay hidden for as long as possible while trying to sneak up on them. That way, they obviously can't see you and you can't see them. Once you see them, you are ideally going to want to pin them between both of you so that when one of you starts shooting, they look at them and then they get attacked from the behind by the other one. Again, if they're far away, you can always use pinging. Other things you're going to want to remember are the setting. If you are very confident with climbing, you're going to want to constantly stay in a building. This way you can get above them. When they walk past you, you can shoot them. However, if you have gauntlets and use the alt, you can be in a large open area such as the mountains. This allows you to have a larger view and chase people quicker. You do not, under any circumstances, want to get pinned in between two teams. However, you want to pin other teams between you and another team. If there are a team of two teams fighting, do not wait. Go in immediately and get the easy kills, as well as eliminate some of the competition. Most of the time, as you can see, it does not benefit you to run from a fight in which you don't have the right weapon for. Simply use the weapon you have. As you can see, I wasted a ton of time switching between weapons and did almost no damage to him. And because of that, we almost lost. If you are close enough to be revived, or you can revive your teammate, do not do this in the open. That might sound surprisingly obvious, but it is surprising how many people do this. You're going to want to get into a corner with you facing outward and your teammate in the corner, so it's harder for people to see them, and in case they attack, your teammate will have more time. Now, there is a player counter of how many players are in a game, but I really don't like to look at this, as it oftentimes confuses me. Most of the time, I press the button with 3 bars on it. This will bring up the leaderboard and the settings menu. This way I can see exactly how many people are in game. Now, as you can see here, I am taking sniper fire from the mountain and looting. This is because at this point I don't much care about myself, as I just got revived, and it would not be too terrible if I simply died right then. However, now I have a bit more overshield, and it would be a bit more negative and a bit more of a loss for that. As you can see, we are now pinned between this building and the storm and the enemy team. This is not at all what you want to do. We are in a very terrible situation. So what me and my teammate decided to do are wait in this building and try and let them pass, or wait for the storm and move up with the storm. However, they begin to push us before that works out. The gas is the green wall that encloses the arena. This is very important, as you don't want to be stuck inside, as it will drain your shield and your health. However, that doesn't mean you should never enter it, simply very sparingly. You can use it for occasional plays. Now, as you can see there, I was going to check up on the enemy team when I realized that they were pushing. I quickly fled into this corner, and then my teammate was killed. I decided to wait here until they flew in, even though I knew that I was probably going to die here. I went and told my teammate to try and find a self-revive. This way, if I die and he gets revived in time, we still have a chance. Now right here, they jump down and I simply shoot them right then, and they can't really do much because they have to reload, and I had the pusher's advantage. That the other teammate does not come and finish me off. However, the gas soon approaches and I realize that I have to move. At this point, I assume it's all up to my teammate. You can use the katana and the spirit health ability by holding trigger when you hold it to give you a little bit of health. That way it doesn't take all of it when you're entering the storm. Now, if it comes down to the last two, of course one of you is going to have to push. And statistically, it's going to be you 50% of the time. We've already discussed how to clear a room. Now, what should you do if you're out in the open? Ideally, depending on your weapon type, you are going to start shooting right away. However, for me, I prefer weapons that require much closer range. To do this, I use the gauntlets. By using the gauntlets and shrinking them down using the buttons, you have the gauntlet alt. When you make a fist and then bring that fist backwards and let go as you're bringing it backwards, it will fling you forward. Now you should be able to get your first win in Gun Raiders Battle Royale. If this video at all helped, please help me out by liking, subscribing, commenting, or even sharing if you feel that generous. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.